How much do you think the Republican sentiment will grow when Charles is king? I worry a lot of people only tolerate the monarchy because they personally like Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah, I think that's true. I don't think I don't think they feel anything about him, not just in the UK, but anywhere in the Commonwealth. I don't think he touches their hearts in the right way. But more than that, he has actually, I think, a flawed attitude to kingship. The Queen understands quite correctly that the purpose of a monarch is to be, not to do. And his idea that he's the greatest genius on climate change and architecture and everything else is going to be absolutely terrible for the monarchy. David says, you mentioned the Canadian truckers. I note that GoFundMe has frozen the $10 million raised for them pending some investigation. Absolutely. GoFundMe should be sued into oblivion. People gave millions of dollars to support this convoy, and now GoFundMe is saying, well, thanks very much for the $10 million. We're going to put that in our savings account while we investigate whether we should give it to the guys you wanted to give it to. Add them to the list of woke billionaires destroying the world. Michael Beadle says, a lot of people have thanked me for the coverage of Rotherham and grooming gangs issues. We're going to stay on that. Lord Ahmed, who was sentenced today, says, Michael Beadle says, you need to be discussing why is there currently no Act of Parliament in place to strip the criminal Lord Ahmed of his peerage. Well, Michael, you shouldn't say you need to be discussing. It sounds slightly aggressive, menacing. I could easily be triggered by it. But as to the substantive point, no, he should go. He should be Lord Ahmed in jail. He should never have been given that peerage. It was in the late 90s, Tony Blair, who destroyed the old House of Lords, and then appointed a lot of people he wanted to pander to in an act of multicultural suck-uppery. That guy should be going around with the peerage all his life so that we remember the kind of people Tony Blair gave peerages to, because that's what you get when you don't have your 10th Duke of what's name and your 15th Marquess of this and your 3rd Earl of that. You get Tony Blair's cronies. And if the cell blocks are full of people called Lord Ahmed and Lord this and Lord that, it will remind us of exactly the low grade of person Tony Blair put in the old House of Lords. Charlie says, thank you for your coverage of Rotherham. Why is it the media, GB excluded, don't pay attention to this? Is it just political correctness, fear of being accused of Islamophobia, or something deeper? I think it's actually pretty basic, that it causes too many uncomfortable questions. One of the problems about celebrating diversity constantly, as we are enjoined to do, is that there's less and less diversity, because it's a necessity of societies that celebrate diversity that they wind up having to pretend everybody is all the same. So you get less and less actual diversity, and instead a great stultifying homogeneity, because nothing something like the grooming gangs thing in Telford, in Rochdale, in Huddersfield, in Rotherham, all kinds of towns. At its heart, if you're going to be honest about it, the questions it poses are too difficult for a multicultural society to address honestly. I notice that in this pathetic report that Sammy Woodhouse and I talked about yesterday, this pathetic, evasive report, the only actual mention of Islam comes with reference to Barnardo's, I think it is, doing some outreach to Muslim girls to see if they might be in trouble.